Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery, and visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Okay, so this morning before I bring the dogs in to the shop, we're going to do a quick slingshot review. The reason that we got to do it before the dogs come in is because for some reason when I shoot a slingshot it gets them all riled up. I mean, you guys know that Doc has got like a thing for chasing balls, right? I mean, that boy will chase a tennis ball for, I swear he would probably run himself to death and just have as much fun on the last ball chase right before he keeled over as he did on the first one. I mean, he's really got a problem. And Wyatt, I don't think he can take the anticipation of the shot. I'll stand right here in the shop and shoot down on my catch box, and as soon as I pull the bands back, he's just all Twitter-pated, right? And man, if I don't shoot within about 5 seconds or so, I mean, he just starts barking because I just don't think he can take the anticipation. And of course, Claire, you know, that she sees the other two all riled up, so then she starts getting riled up. So rather than have a whole bunch of crazy dogs in here while we're doing a slingshot video, we're just going to do it right quick before they come into the shop. So this is a review on the Simple Shot Scout. There's two Simple Shot Scout models. This is the Scout LT version. The other one is this one right here. Apparently this one came out first, and then this one came out after that one did. While I've got this pulled up, we'll go ahead and look at it right quick. So it's at simple-shot.com, and it is the Scout LT Slingshot. It's $34.99. It comes in, I think it comes in several different colors. Green, black, orange, and brown. I got the green. It does have scales on it that you can take off or you know, mix and match your colors if you want to. And then apparently in the hollow in the handle you can put a weight in there if the slingshot's a little bit too light for you. So $35 for this slingshot. It comes with, it says on the website that it came with the scales, which I took them off. I didn't really care for them. The clips that you use to remove and install the bands, a lanyard. It said one band set, but mine came with two band sets, set up for 11/16 or 7/16 or 11 millimeter steel. Yeah, I mean, so at first I was like, man, 35 bucks for a slingshot? You know, I mean, the one that I shot when I was a kid, the old wrist rocket, you know, I think you can, I mean, if you can find those now, it doesn't seem like they're as popular now as what they used to be. You know, I don't know, maybe 10 bucks, you know, for a wrist rocket. This is a whole nother world of slingshots than my old wrist rocket that I had when I was a kid. Now, granted, when I was a kid, I thought I was pretty good with a slingshot. I used to shoot rocks all the time. My favorite ammo was pachinko balls, which I got a bag full of them from my dad. I'm not sure if he gave them to me or if I just found them and assumed that he gave them to me. Those were my favorite ammo until I shot them all up. But typically I shot rocks that were about the size of my thumb, you know, from the first joint, you know, to the tip. And you know, I hunted pigeons, rabbits, frogs, pretty much anything that moved, you know. I mean, young kids, that's what you do. And I thought I was pretty good back then. These things right here are a whole nother world full of accuracy and power than what that wrist rocket was. Yeah, so first of all, probably I ought to show you how these clips work. They do have, one nice thing is that they do have a slot in here that's wide enough that you can use a coin like a penny, or I don't think you could use a nickel. And of course I don't have any change on me right now. But you could use a penny or a dime, maybe even fit a quarter up into that, that screw slot there. But we'll just use a screwdriver right quick. So You loosen up the screw, and then that clip, it moves out, and you can pull the band off. You put the band back in. This is where it gets a little bit fiddly for me. You hold the clip in, and check, make sure you see if you got about the same amount of bands inside the clip on both sides. Kind of adjust that. Tilt it over a little bit. And of course I'm doing this at arm's length around the camera. There we go. Okay. So you got it all in place, and then tighten up the screw. Get it snug. Double check, make sure that the band is in there and it's where you want it to be. And then just snug it down. Okay, so the screw is made out of, well, I mean, it's just a regular old metal screw. I'm not sure what grade it is, but the clip is made out of aluminum. All right, now it's like a 1/4" by 20 thread bolt, something like that. So it's a fairly hefty size bolt. But remember, this is aluminum, so I think you'd really have to work at it to strip it out. But you know, I mean, I suppose it could happen. The clips, I think, are a little bit on the fiddly side, just because the screw goes through and then the clip is just kind of floating. So it seems like there's a whole lot to have to hold in one spot, you know, to get them in. Although it is nice, you know, having the clips instead of having to do the wrap and tuck method like on this Simple Shot Sparrow. But the downside is that there's more bulk. But it works really nice. The handle scales, I didn't particularly care for them because it seemed like they, I mean, I understand that it's supposed to fill this gap up here in your hand, but it just didn't fit my hand all that well. So I took them off, and apparently if it's too light, they've got a weight that will go in here that gets sandwiched in between the scales to make the whole thing a little bit heavier. On the weight thing, I get by just fine with this slingshot. I took it out bunny hunting, and I shot a cottontail, and there was a wire, his head was behind a wire, and so I didn't have a clear head shot. So I shot him in the chest, which 7/16 steel ammo, I mean, should do that job just fine. Well, it hit him in the top part of the shoulder. Well, we'll go this way. Hit him in the top part of the shoulder, and you know how bunnies kind of sit with their shoulders hunched up like this? So it hit him in the top part of the shoulder, and then it went through the underside of his spine, and then I dug the ball out from the inside of the offside shoulder. And man, I mean, hit him, he jumped, ran a little bit, and then, you know, tipped over, and he was over and done with. When I skinned him out, the amount of bloodshot meat on his, you know, that whole front, the whole top part of his shoulders and everything was pretty incredible. You know, and you really don't think that that would happen with such a low velocity round coming from a slingshot, but you know, in that case it certainly did. I mean, it was a very humane ending for that bunny. And then of course I cooked him up on the wood stove in my great grandmother's Dutch oven out here in the shop 2 or 3 days later. So anyway, so it's perfectly accurate enough and perfectly steady enough just the way it is. To my mind, it's a little bit on the light side, so I ended up casting myself one out of aluminum, and honestly that's about perfect for, you know, a shooting or a dedicated hunting slingshot. Where I've really been liking this one is that because it's so light, I just keep it in my jacket pocket. Because it's so light, I mean, there's you just don't even notice that it's there. This and a little pill bottle or something full of 7/16 steel balls, and you don't hardly notice it's there, and then you can always you know, plank or take the occasional bunny rabbit or you know, whatever it is that you want to do with them. One nice thing that I really like about this one that I have not tried with the rest of them. Now, Nathan Masters, the guy that owns Simple Shot, he says not to use rocks with these, okay? Which, that's the maker, so, you know, I mean, probably ought to do what the maker suggests, right? But I grew up shooting rocks, and to me, a slingshot, the steel ammo is awesome, but what happens if you run out, or, you know, if you spill your pill bottle full of steel balls, and, you know, now you don't have anything to shoot. So I really like a slingshot that I can still shoot rocks in if I need to. And this one, I have shot quite a few rocks out of it, and you know, I mean, again, I was picking the thumb-sized rocks that were pretty smooth, you know, no real jagged edges or anything, and I haven't had a problem with it. I make dang sure I have a tendency to drop my hand fairly quick after the shot to get ready for the next shot. Probably a throwback from when I was a kid and you had to shoot 3 or 4 times before you hit that pigeon or bunny rabbit or whatever. So when I'm shooting rocks, I make dang sure that that hand stays, you know, until after the shot is gone, and then bring it in, because you wouldn't want that rock to be headed through and then come down and end up getting a fork hit. But I have shot rocks, and it shoots fairly good with rocks. The bands. This is where these bands are freaking amazing, okay? Nathan has got plenty of videos, and if you want to get into slingshots, check out his videos. He's got a ton of them, and they're all excellent. So apparently, China is putting out the best latex right now. And he went over there and said, hey, I want a latex that, you know, does this, 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 and this. And they made it for him, and it's pretty dang cool. That bunny rabbit that I told you about shooting, that was at like 34 to a 36 degree day, which is doubly impressive, because the slingshot that I had when I was a kid, the wrist rocket, those tubes, they would lose power at cold temperatures like that, but it wasn't really all that noticeable because you weren't near as accurate as what these can be. The last time I was into slingshots, I was casting my own slingshots and then doing, hang on, doing stuff like these, where you got a cast aluminum slingshot, and then you're using TheraBand Gold exercise bands, and they worked really great during the summer months when it was nice and warm outside. But you take these and you go hunting and it's 30 degrees outside, they seriously drop off in speed. I mean, so much so that I quit carrying them just because of that fact that, you know, they were fun during the summertime, but when rabbit season came around, you know, it was too cold for the bands. These things right here, I think he said that they are good down to, I want to say like 10 degrees Fahrenheit. Which, after seeing it, I believe it. And just amazing that you can get the kind of power that you get out of these things with such a small band and such a light draw. It's just phenomenal. I mean, way beyond the TheraBand Gold and the natural latex that I was shooting the last time. Yeah, just amazing. I mean, just for the fact that it's temperature stable down to a usable range. I mean, you know, 10 degrees Fahrenheit isn't, I mean, the grand scheme of things isn't really all that cold. But typically anymore, if it's colder than 10, I typically stay home that day. I don't go out, you know, bunny hunting. But it is nice to know that you can shoot it and it will be effective in that kind of temperatures. So yeah, we went over the clips, we went over the bands, the pouch. Well, there's nothing really amazing. Now the pouches, I did the holes that come in the bands. They're a little bit too small for my taste for 7/16 steel. See if I can get the thing out of here. Oh, that's another thing, these pouches. Yeah, that's a standard band set. So the standard band set comes, and it's, I want to say that's 10 inches long. Yeah, 10 inches long from where it's tied to the pouch to the very end of it. Okay, now he's got calculators on his website. But to make it simple, what you do is you figure out your draw length, okay, and then you multiply, divide that. So you want somewhere between 4 times stretch and a 6 times stretch. So I think my draw length, well, my old draw length was 30, so we'll stay with that to keep it easy. So if with a 30-inch draw, a 6 times stretch would be a 5-inch band length measured from the pouch tie to where it comes out of the frame at. All right? So that would be a 500 times stretch. A 600 times stretch would be 6 inches. Yeah, you'll have to go back and look. But pretty much, you figure out your active band length, you cut these to that length, and then you go ahead and install them. If you're shooting a 7/16 ammo, I take a leather punch and I make that hole about 2 or 3 sizes larger so that a 7/16 ball will center a little bit easier in that hole. These pouches that they come in. So these are amber pouches. So even if you left them here on the bench top, the sunlight and the UV rays are not supposed to be able to go through the bags to be able to get to the bands. Now I think that that these black bands, that they put something in the latex so that it's not quite as sensitive to the UV rays. But the pouches are really freaking cool. And if you don't want to tie your own bands, I think he's selling these for like $5 a band set. And if you order 6 or more, it's like $4 a band set, something like that. So, you know, these are way cheaper than the old wrist rocket bands also. And they last a good amount of time as long as you're not, you know, pulling them back, you know, and cutting them way too short and overstretching them. You know, so I want to say that's about it. So let's go ahead and take a couple of shots. And for me, that's kind of the amazing part about these, is that I am way more accurate now than I have ever been with a slingshot. And this is just after a month or two of owning these things and playing around with them. I mean, the new versions. Like I said, a couple of years ago, I was shooting the Through the Forks with TheraBand Gold. I mean, pretty much the same. Well, I was shooting 44 caliber lead then, which honestly is way too heavy for what I need it to be. And that probably compounded the problem with the cold and the TheraBand Gold and everything. But shots that honestly were Hail Marys when I was a kid. You know, I mean, well, you know what a Hail Mary is. I mean, there is no real way that you're going to make that shot, but you're going to try it anyway. Shots like that when I was a kid are almost feasible with a slingshot setup like this. I mean, they're just amazing. So let's get you set up. Okay. So you may end up having to zoom a little bit on your computer, but I'll pace it off and show it to you. Like I said, remember, you know, from what I'm seeing, the screen's about this big, so, you know, that car tire's about like that. But anyway, so way down there in the corner by the meat cooler at the end of the truck is my catch box. Well, no, I'll just take it down there. So this is my catch box. What we've got is one of the steel spinners from GZK on a piece of 1/8 inch stainless steel welding rod. So when you hit it, it'll flip around. This here is one of the simple shot targets, and it does the same thing. I usually shoot at the steel one, but maybe I'll shoot at the orange one. It might be a little bit easier to see. So let's put you right about here. I think you ought to be able to see the spinners hit, and then I'm going to stand right in front of you. I put a mark on the shop floor with a pencil right about here, and that's 30 feet. So 10 yards. Most of my days I shoot from back there next to the bandsaw, and that's 42 feet, I think, or 43 feet. But we'll do it from 10 because hopefully I'll make more hits then. Hit the top edge of the orange one. Can you see that one spinning? Hit it about a ball's width low from right in the middle. That orange spinner, it's like 1 3/4 inches across. Hit that one on the left edge of it. So 3 shots, 2 of them were really good, solid hits, and the third one skimmed the top edge of it, which is why it didn't flip around very well. Which is, I understand it's not like some of the other YouTube guys, you know, where they're cutting cards in half and they're, you know, putting a playing card in between 2 bottles and the bottle valve thingy. I'm not lighting matches yet or anything like that, but, you know, that is every bit of hunting accuracy. You know, for a cottontail rabbit or a blue grouse if you were up elk hunting. We don't really have squirrels. We got red squirrels up in the hills, but they're not really, they're really tiny. I mean, the body from nose to tail is like that long. I mean, they're not hardly even worth shooting. But tin cans, if you're up on a hillside, you know, out deer or elk hunting, and you got a stand of aspen trees down below you, and you think there might be something in there, you know, that's totally accurate enough to pick up a couple of smooth rocks and, you know, drop a couple of rocks in there to see if, you know, you flush something out on the other side of the hill. You know, they're just, and tin cans, oh man, tin cans are fun to shoot. And not only shooting, but apparently now people cut them in half with the slingshots. And I've done that a couple of times. I just hang a can down there on the catch box and then just shoot at it until it cuts it in half. Some guys are keeping track of how many shots that it takes to cut a can in half. Honestly, I'm still on the just excited that I can cut a can in half stage, so I haven't really counted how many shots to see how many shots it takes me to cut one in half. So again, these things are just, I mean, they've just really come a long way. I mean, from the frames, like I said, this one, you know, it fits my hand really good. It's, you know, my favorite carry is, you know, back pocket carry. You just tuck it in the back pocket with the bands hanging out. Keep it, you know, 10 pieces of ammo in the pocket with you. So there's no holster or nothing. That's probably one of the reasons why I like the slimmer profiles. When it's real cold outside, you know, you can either tuck it inside a breast pocket on your coat, or if you're wearing a button-up shirt, tuck it inside the shirt and then button, you know, loop this over the button, so, and then tuck the rest of the bands inside your shirt so that it all stays warm. And then all you got to do is, you know, undo that one button, pull it out, you know, load it, and you're ready to go. So the frames are amazing. The bands are amazing. The band sleeves, those are freaking cool. Just everything is, I mean, it's just come so far in the last 5 or 8 years or whenever it was that I was playing with it last time. These are truly effective small game getters nowadays. in cold temperatures. So it's going to be exciting to see where these go. I mean, I can't imagine them getting any better, but heck, I couldn't imagine them getting any better the last time except for the cold resistance. Oh, I guess one more thing about, and we'll take you over here. One more thing about this particular slingshot. Well, this one and the bigger Scout. Well, no, it's easier to see on this one. But they've got, you can shoot them either over the top or through the forks. See how the band grooves are cut both ways? This one, I think it's so that you can shoot it like this. And if you want to shoot with like a pinch grip, okay, if you want to shoot with a fork supported grip, to me it's a little bit more comfortable to turn it around. So he's got band grooves cut on both sides, all right? This one is pretty much just the front side, and of course the clip hides it. But instead of shooting with the bands going over the top like I like to shoot, you can turn the bands to the side and shoot through the forks like this. Which, you know, I mean, that's a perfectly good way to shoot too, but I don't get the, don't have as much elevation adjustment shooting through the forks as I do over the top. But anyways, yeah, simply amazing slingshots. All right, so if you're in the market for one of these slingshots, I tell you that, you know, for that $35, it sure seems like an awful lot, but man, the thought that goes into this and the whole industry, they're just truly amazing and a whole lot of fun. So again, the fellas, website is slingshot. Well, no, that's not it. There it is. slingshot.com. Yeah, pick one up and give it a try. Again, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery, and visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.